This episode of Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast is brought to you by BetWhackers. If you're looking to make some serious money during this year's college football and NFL season, then listen up. BetWhackers is for the betting public who are looking to get an edge on their weekly wagers on college and NFL football. The BetWhackers team will provide you with 6 weekly picks that their experts have identified to give you a winning edge across both college and NFL football, along with giving you one Power Slam parlay. With their countless hours of research, the BetWhackers experts have delivered their clients a 56% average win rate in the NFL season and a 63% average win rate in the college football season across the past 5 years. And if you know anything about gambling, you know that those numbers are absolutely crazy. Just in 2020, the BetWhackers experts delivered a 69% win rate to their clients in the college football season. At that point, that's pretty much a license to print money. And for those really wanting to go above and beyond, their Power Slam parlays have won at least 3 times every football season in the last 5 years, and that's going to give you 3 to 6 times return on your weekly wager. Of course, you can always verify this because all of their win percentages are authenticated by Bet365. As an avid sports gambler myself, I promise you that I'm going to be using their picks, because why use my picks that usually deliver 10 to 15% win rates when I can lock in anywhere from 56 to 70%? Why not, right? And of course, they're providing Straight Shoot listeners with a fantastic promotion. For the first month, Straight Shoot subscribers get a discount of $75 on their membership when they use the promo code SLAM at checkout. Again, that's $75 off when you use the promo code SLAM. And that's creative because we're a wrestling podcast. Sign up by using the Straight Shoot link found on the BetWhackers website. That's www.betwhackers.com. Again, www.betwhackers.com. You will also find the direct link in the description of this video or audio podcast. Thank you very much to BetWhackers for sponsoring Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast. And now on to the episode. Welcome everybody to Straight Shooter Wrestling Podcast. We are tired. We have spent the last 36 hours, we've spent 24 hours of those in an airport. We're just coming back from TwitchCon San Diego. Energy levels might be a little bit low, so we're going to be powering through this episode. Steve, how are you?
Oh, dude, like you just said, we just spent the last 24 hours of 36 in an airport, traveling across the great continent of North America to go hang out with some gamers, learn some valuable assets, and actually meet some Wrestle Talk fans, and some Straight Shoot fans. So I just want to shout out everybody we met. Thank you guys so much for approaching us and saying hello and being friendly, and all the new people that we met over on the Twitch side of things. You guys were fantastic. But Santi, yeah, I'm a little worse for wear, buddy. We only landed about 6-7 hours ago, and I've got my cold. You've seen me coughing up a lung for the last 2-3 days. Let's just get through this. Guys, I apologize for our energy being low, but we've got a great episode for you. So let's just get into it, buddy.
Yeah, so while in San Diego, right before the Megan Thee Stallion concert that Twitch put together for its partners and affiliates, we decided to go to the concert late because we wanted to watch Extreme Rules. And thank God we decided to go late, and we arrived at the perfect time, because if you've been following things on Twitter with things regarding to TwitchCon, you may have seen that Master Chief was grinding up on Megan Thee Stallion, so we didn't miss that. So we got the best part of the concert, and we got the best part of Extreme Rules. Buddy, Extreme Rules was, by all accounts, a very mediocre show. I think we can both agree that, obviously, like with the exception of the ending, I'll say that for now, that the show was fairly lackluster in terms of match quality. There was maybe 1-2 matches that were really worth talking about. A lot of matches that disappointed, like Bayley and Bianca Belair. And some matches that over-delivered, like Imperium and what am I saying? Over-delivered.
Brawling Brutes.
They just always deliver banger after banger after banger. But I mean, real quick, Steve, overall thoughts on Extreme Rules?
Listen, I think you hit the nail on the head, Santi. Extreme Rules was disappointing with quite a few performances. You did mention Bayley and Bianca. I think they were going very careful. I said it before when this first match was started, that they were going to protect Bayley, and they did. Liv and Ronda under-delivered poorly. It looked like bad booking. It looked like bad match quality. But then you also had the likes of like the Brawling Brutes and Imperium. You could put them on an indie show with 0 people in the crowd, and they would still put on a banger of a match. And then Riddle and Seth, like, listen, for what it wasn't horrible. I think it looked like a bit of an injury or at least a stinger on Riddle to end it, so it's a very weird ending, but whatever, it is what it is. Move on. Santi, please, can we just get into the topic of the show, man? Like, this Extreme Rules was bang average. It was not Triple H's best booking performance, but
it also
like they always say, you saved the best for last, and oh my God.
Yeah, talk about it's weird because like when it comes to this isn't the first time that the Fiend or Bray Wyatt has re-debuted in a sense, right? So it's tough to call this a debut, but it's also hard to call this just your run-of-the-mill return, like Charlotte returning from her honeymoon. It's just not. They're in different leagues in different categories in terms of what Bray Wyatt does when he comes back and he fully reinvents himself. So it's like a re-debut of a brand new version 3.0 of what he's bringing to us. And what it was easily one of the coolest, best produced pieces of entertainment, not just wrestling, that I've seen in a very, very long time. The show, by all accounts, is about to go off the air. Riddle has his arm up. You've got the ticker in the bottom left saying Extreme Rules, LLC, all this stuff. They're saying goodbye, and then the lights go off. And I will say, there was a moment, we all knew what was about to happen. This was one of Michael Cole's worst calls. Are we still on the air, guys? Guys? Hello? Are we still on the air? Like, dude, we get it. You're hamming it up a little too much. But yeah. Steve, what did you think of that?
Listen, first off, Santi, like if you guys haven't watched our TikTok, the reaction video that we posted of us watching this all go down. Santi, I have to quote you. What the fuck is this bullshit? Because the ticker went up and you got sold on it. You got sold that for a quick second. And I was there too. We're like, there is no way that they are leaving it like this. And I guess WWE's been listening to the fans, knowing that we pay attention to everything. And Triple H threw up the swerve, put the production ticker up, put the LLC, the copyright, and then let him go. And oh my God, Santi. First off, Michael Cole, you didn't need to say what you did, but you know what? It's Michael Cole. He's been doing it for 25 years. He's been doing it bang average for 25 years. I'm just going to let it go. But when those lights went out, Santi, it was back to my childhood, 100%. It was one of those ones where you're sitting on the edge of the couch and you and I are sitting there. Our faces do not move for a good 4 minutes of just complete awe at what we're watching. This beautiful production of what I can say is, you said a 3.0, I'm saying a rebirth. This is the rebirth of Bray Wyatt. Wyatt 6 is what we're looking at. And if you've looked into this whole character backline and backstory, we're in for something special. But I think this is where our topic of the show really gets into it. It's, what is that something special?
Yeah. And that something special obviously has a lot of people speculating on to who this Wyatt 6, Wyndham 6, whatever it is that they're calling them, who is behind the mask of all of the Firefly Funhouse characters. Are we made to expect that this is a new faction? Are we made to expect that there have been clues and hints telling us who these people are that we might have been missing? Because there was another QR code on Monday Night Raw that we weren't able to decipher. So there might be clues that are still being sprinkled left, right, and center for the viewing audience as to who is behind those masks. And that is what the topic of the show is today. We're going to be talking who is behind the Firefly Funhouse characters, who is the Wyndham 6, the Wyatt 6, who makes the most sense? Who makes the most sense based on the character that they would be, right? So we'll try and see if we can make some connections between Rambling Rabbit versus and this person and Abby the Witch and this person. So that's the plan for today's conversation. But Steve, maybe let's start off with what many people believe to be the most obvious member of the Wyatt Six, and still not yet back on WWE television. We haven't seen him in a very long time. Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas, by all accounts, seems to be a very, obviously nothing confirmed as of the making of this, but I think we all have him pegged to have some sort of major role within the Wyndham Six. Again, if they're calling it the Wyndham Six, it makes sense for Bo Dallas to have a major part in this. What do you think?
Listen, let's be real. Bo Dallas's main roster run has never been something to gloat about, but when he was in NXT, he was a great character. He was a great performer. He put on a great show. But Bo Dallas has more to him than a guy running around in white trunks yelling, "I believe." You know what I believe in? I believe that Bray Wyatt is now Bray Wyatt or Wyndham Rotunda. He might come back as his true alias. I'm saying my true shout, if Bo Dallas is returning, and by all reports that we have seen, Bo Dallas is coming back to WWE, I'm saying Bo Dallas is the new Fiend. Because if Bray is now this kind of cult leader, is what we're going to call it for now, it's the closest thing to the Fiend is it could be like using his brother.
Yeah, and let me, I guess, set some backstory here as to what we saw. So before the reveal of Bray Wyatt, we saw Huskus. Then we saw Mercy the Buzzard. Then we saw Rambling Rabbit. Yep. Then we saw Abby the Witch. And then we saw the Fiend. And then after seeing the Fiend, did we see Bray Wyatt, leaving us to assume that Bray Wyatt is no longer the Fiend, right? If we were to make, fairly, reasonable, educated leaps, one would say that Bray Wyatt is no longer the one behind the Fiend. So what you're saying is you feel like it's Bo Dallas that is going to be taking the role of the Fiend in the Wyatt Six.
I think the only way it makes sense is someone to be as close to the mind of Bray Wyatt to carry the Fiend, because the Fiend is a very difficult character. Like, the Fiend is what we saw going into lockdown and everything with, the Performance Center and the acts and the production of the Fiend. It's not an easy character to play. So somebody that has the same mind as Bray, and who better than his brother? I really believe that only answer. I believe
you missed that one.
I know. I said it earlier. Give me a break. I'm tired, buddy. No, I definitely believe that the Fiend is going to be Bo Dallas, and you could throw, if they want to bring the goofy character back of Bo. I really think that the what's it called, the bird, what's it called, Mercy the Buzzard. Yeah, okay, that's a long shot, but I really think it wouldn't shock me if Bo was actually the one dressed in the Fiend outfit in the crowd that night. It wouldn't shock me at all.
I agree. Yeah, that's who I have pegged as like the most obvious person to play the Fiend. Again, if we're being led to believe that the Fiend is no longer being played by Bray Wyatt himself, I think it makes absolute sense that it would be Bo Dallas. So I think we can peg that as an obvious one. Let me toss another name out there for you, Steve. Is there room for Eric Rowan to come back and have a role here?
Listen, I've seen the reports. I've seen the speculation. Like, you and I have both, in our 36 hours of travel, just been nonstop on Twitter and trying to catch up on everything. I've seen the Eric Rowan reports. I just don't see what character he fits. The Rabbit, the Buzzard, Huskus. Like, I think you and I both have the same name for Huskus, and we'll get into that in a second, but I don't see it. unfortunately. I would love to see Eric Rowan back with Bray, because I believe like that, especially with the tribute that was done to Brody Lee in the entrance, which was, by the way, absolutely beautiful. I don't want to jump off topic, but that was just fantastic, and well done WWE for allowing that. I just don't see it. Santi, if you can explain to me where he fits, I'll engage it, but I don't see it. What about you?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I'm having a tough time pinpointing him as to one of the characters, but I'm also having a tough time not including him in some way, shape, or form, right? Like, he is the embodiment of the Wyatt family, like part of the embodiment of the Wyatt family. It would be weird, I personally think, to have this expanded faction and not include one of the original surviving members of the Wyatt family. It would seem wrong for the Wyatt Six to not include Rowan. Do we want younger, more capable talent to be taking on these roles? Maybe, maybe not. Like, here's the thing, like, are they going to be behind masks? If they are, then it might be better to have somebody who is already an established talent that isn't trying to get over because they have a young career, like Eric Rowan, to be behind, say, Rambling Rabbit. It could make sense, right? Like, you know, there's some people that are like, oh, like I'll just throw a silly name out there, Austin Theory. Why would you want to have somebody like Austin Theory that it has the ability to still carve out a very successful WWE career for himself to be part of this faction where he's going to be one of six, right? Right now, we've mentioned Bray Wyatt, somebody who obviously like the mastermind behind this. Bo Dallas has nothing except to gain by being part of this, right? And I would say the same thing qualifies with Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan is not going outside of this. Eric Rowan is not going to elevate his career to be the next WrestleMania main eventer, right? No. So I think there is a spot for him in a faction of six where he can play, well, one, a mentor, somebody who understands the body language required to be part of a faction that requires this level of production, right? There's other names that we're going to be listing that make sense in terms of a path from potentially NXT moving up. And yes, NXT does a great job of getting these people up and ready for the production quality of the WWE, but Eric Rowan already has it. He already has it. He's had a match with The Rock at WrestleMania. Let's not forget that. So I do think that there is a spot for Eric Rowan in the Wyatt Six. And if I have to pick one, I will say Rambling Rabbit.
Okay. All right. Hey, I'll entertain it if it happens, dude. That's gonna be the best call of the one.
Yeah,
you know, I'd love to see him back, but I just don't see it. I can't see it.
See, and now the more that I say it, I feel like Rambling Rabbit needs to be somebody who's good on the mic. Because Rambling Rabbit in the Firefly Funhouse, I mean, it's in the name, right? Rambling. But in the Firefly Funhouse, he was the voice of reason for Bray Wyatt. Like, dude, what are you doing, Bray? You shouldn't be doing that. That's so mean. And then he gets killed on every episode of the Firefly Funhouse.
It's crazy because I have just jumped on my first prediction, and I'm saying Bo Dallas could be Rambling Rabbit because of how he used to be on the mic when he was Bo leaving. And he always just kept running his mouth, doing his thing. Also being that brother to Bray Wyatt. It could be, oh man, this could go all over the place. I'm just going to stick with what I said, but I digress. We could be getting things we could find the right people just out of order. So and just remember, guys, in the comments, put this in your order. Tell us what you guys think, or add other people. So, Santi, who do you got next?
Yeah, so again, I'm just throwing names out here. So we're not necessarily going in a particular order, but one that's been coming up a lot based on his wardrobe. Happy Corbin.
Okay. I'm squashing this now. Listen, the last time we saw Happy Corbin, he was riding off with JBL. We all know it was JBL. He got in the Bighorn limo, and all JBL says, "What the hell are you doing?" And he gets in and we have not seen, JBL is not going to connect Baron Corbin to Bray Wyatt. And also, Baron Corbin is one of those characters, yes, we shit on him a lot, but he is not one of those characters that is going to gain from being in this faction. And I think that's the key point about this. The people that we're putting in this are people that are going to gain and grow. Baron Corbin can carry his own feuds by himself as much as we don't like him and he's got true heat and not heel heat. Baron Corbin doesn't make sense. So I'm just going to throw this away and I'm going to go with a complete swerve on this. I see it actually being Sam Shaw, Dexter Lumis as Mercy the Buzzard.
So you kind of took it right out of my mouth. Okay, so let's go with Dexter Lumis. So if you look at the image of Mercy the Buzzard, the shirt screams Baron Corbin, sure. But it was the only one of the characters that was making their hands visible. And if you go look at the photo, it's wearing black gloves.
Black gloves.
Who else wears black gloves but Dexter Lumis? And Dexter Lumis just kind of fits the bill of a character that just kind of works in this weird zany universe. He's already doing such a great job of getting this zany serial fucking criminal over with the audience. So I'm with you, and I like the idea of Dexter Lumis. If we're looking at clues exclusively, then we could be looking at Mercy the Buzzard. If we go back to the vignettes of the Firefly Funhouse, Mercy the Buzzard was the kind of weirdly violent one, always encouraging Bray to get violent, and just had usually the weirdest dialogue out of all of the characters. I mean, Dexter's pretty fucking weird.
I'm just gonna jump one more in there, buddy, and it is from the rumor mill, but because of the shirts, Grayson Waller from NXT.
That's right. Now, additionally with Grayson Waller, he tweeted out a picture, an emoji of a buzzard. But again, like if I was a part of WWE developmental talent and I saw something like this, I'd want to try and get on the bandwagon to try and get my name out there, and I would probably have done the same thing, right? So we can't take that. We can't take that as anything outside of maybe somebody just trying to get over on social media. But yeah, Grayson Waller, 100%. Like, again, if we're looking at moving some young people that don't yet have this established road towards the main roster yet, Grayson Waller makes absolute sense.
Yeah, it's one of those ones that, like, again, if you look at the display and the production and those subtle hints, and that's the thing that they've been doing with this whole thing for the past 4 to 6 weeks, is the subtle hints, and I don't know, Grayson Waller's got some disgustingly ugly shirts, and that shirt on that buzzard is ugly as sin. So it's a coin toss for me. Could be Grayson, could be Dexter. I'd prefer Dexter Lumis in this because, well, that's just amazing to take my money at this point.
Yeah,
like just with what we're building here, and guys, we're just building this as how we feel it could run. Building a pretty damn solid faction that I think the ones might have a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, let's talk about some of the ladies in the faction. So we have one, at the very least, one obvious female character, which would be Abby the Witch. I think that Vegas betting odds have this either being Liv Morgan or Alexa Bliss. You and I have already talked a little bit at length about Alexa Bliss, and I'll tell the audience what I think the Alexa Bliss situation is going to be. It would make no fucking sense for her to be part of this faction. Not because I don't think that she's great, and I don't think that she works in this zany supernatural world, because I think she made it perfectly clear that it does work. But there's two things. One, WWE has been doing a great job recently of acknowledging the past. Things that happened months ago, years ago, decades ago are being acknowledged in recent weekly WWE television and are being used as part of storylines.
Yep.
the last time that we saw The Fiend, he got double crossed by Alexa Bliss. So it wouldn't be crazy to assume that one of the first people on his hit list
is Alexa Bliss.
So for her to be part of this faction, one boring choice, like in terms of like kind of going to old reliable, kind of like Eric Rowan, where we're like, it makes sense, but like, there's so many other cool options that could be out there. So I'll toss Liv Morgan at you.
Yeah, honestly, Santi, when you explained it to me, when we were talking on the plane or before we got on the plane, and how this could bill out, it made complete sense when you spun it that way, and I completely agree with you. My thing was, we saw a change in Liv Morgan at Extreme Rules. First off, I've never seen a woman get choked out with a smile on her face in a match where she loses the title. Then the boiler room, leave it alone. Leave it alone.
I'm not gonna...
leave it alone.
All right, so you've never choked out a woman with a smile on her face. Go on.
I might cut that out. Anyways, no. So the boiler room scene, though, very Mick Foley, very Mankind, 1990s style. Liv didn't have much to say, but it was the subtle over the eye with the empty eye on the glove, which was a very cryptic message for me in that. And I was like, yo, this is something. And it all makes sense, because the one thing, a lot of people, fans are 50-50 on this. When they showed Abby the Witch, there was a Raw Women's title sitting right next to her. There was another title next to that. And they're saying, oh, those could have been fan placed, whatever. Listen. WWE doesn't allow a sign in the audience if they don't want it. We saw that from firsthand in Toronto, Santi. That title was there for a reason. Granted, it was the Raw title. But at the end of the day, there was a full-fledged title sitting next to that woman. So whoever is coming in as Abby the Witch is going to be in the title picture. With that being said, Liv Morgan has just dropped her title, and maybe she just needs a little guidance in the darker way of doing things, and who better to guide you than the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt?
I think it needs to be Liv Morgan. I really do think that it needs to be Liv Morgan. The character itself was getting a little bit on the stale side of things, so I think it's a perfect type of redirection for a performer like Liv Morgan. She showed in that sequence where she lost the match, and in that backstage sequence, that she has the capability, the range to act beyond just the happy-go-lucky, smiley baby face, and she can get a little bit dark, she can get a little bit spooky, a little bit twisted. So yeah, I would be disappointed if it's not Liv Morgan. This is because unlike the other characters that are assumably all male, whoever they put as Abby the Witch is a female superstar that is going to get over. Right? Look at how over Rhea Ripley is as the singular female in Judgment Day, and how well they've used her, and how dominant she's looked, whether it's around the Mysterios or around other women. Whoever they put in there is going to have that similar Rhea Ripley effect. The top dog female in a top dog faction is going to get over. So you need to have somebody there that you have future plans for, that you have long-term outlook on. And I think that's Liv Morgan. I really do believe that it's Liv Morgan.
And they've already attempted this with her. They've already given her the title run. They've given her the build. Actually, if you go back to those vignettes that she was doing about the Lana thing, remember she was doing those vignettes where she was coming back as the scorned lover? She was in the bathtub doing all those. She showed her range there, and it was the vignettes were very well done. The storyline was absolutely dog water, but the vignettes were very good. So she's shown her range, and again, under the guidance of Bray and this fabulous new creative team, And just remember, Liv Morgan has a relationship with Bray Wyatt outside of wrestling. She was with Bo Dallas for a while in a relationship. So it makes sense to work with someone that you've been close to for years. And if Bray says, I want Liv, Hunter is not saying no. If he believes that she can do it, it's Liv Morgan. I'm with you on this. I'm a betting man. I'm going to bet my money it's Liv Morgan.
Yeah. And for all accounts, everything that we've been hearing is that WWE creative, the traditional WWE creative team, had very little to do in terms of this production and the decisions that got made. Every decision was made by very exclusive members of the creative team and Bray Wyatt, with every decision then and including all the White Rabbit stuff. That was Bray Wyatt and some very exclusive people in the creative team. So if we have presumably the top dogs in creative working alongside Bray Wyatt, and conveniently he comes back on the same night that she drops her title, giving her the opportunity to enter multiple storylines, I think it's just one of those where I'm just sort of seeing the writing on the sand. It's right there. It just makes sense. I would be disappointed. I would work with it. But I would be disappointed if it's Alexa Bliss, because it's something we've already seen. But
take away Lexi. Who do you got? Take away Alexi. Take away Liv. Who?
Maybe Nikki Cross, because she's been on that side of the spectrum. That's the only other character that makes sense. Really, genuinely, it's the only other one that makes sense in terms of, Bray Wyatt taking somebody who has been, she's floundering, but we know has the range to kind of play like that. Kind of like, here's the thing. Nikki Cross doesn't play a dark character very well. She plays a crazy character, which is a
lunatic.
Yeah, which is different. It's not the same. And I think what we saw from Liv Morgan, that dark version of her, where it's not like, oh, she's crazy. No. She's in a dark place. Literally, that's what they called the video. She's in a dark place. That's the type of character that I want to see, not the crazy character. I want to see somebody who's in a dark place.
And also, literally, like the wrestlers have been doing their thing on the other end. Her tweet by blacking out her photo on Twitter and putting her at, like, her geolocator as in your head. Come on. Like, the writing's, it's all there. It's Liv.
Yeah.
The only one I'm going to say I'm 100% on is Liv.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So let's move on here. So we've already talked about Alexa Bliss, Liv Morgan. Let's just quickly talk about what I think is a red herring here, but yet people are still talking about him. For those that maybe didn't go to high school English, a red herring is a clue that is put in front of you that is meant to be a misdirect. It's supposed to be obviously put in front of you, made you to maybe believe that clue is important, but it isn't. And that's Seth Rollins, with him also blacking out his Twitter at the same time as Liv Morgan. Fair to say this is a 0% chance, especially after what we witnessed on Monday Night Raw with him winning the United States Championship.
Seth Rollins just became a 2-time Grand Slam champion on Monday night. What does he gain joining this?
He's trolling.
Granted, Seth is crazy. Like, genuinely, like, the man is crazy when it comes to his character and his character development and his growth. This would be the biggest step back and career suicide if Seth Rollins joined this faction. It's nuts. Granted, a rivalry between Bray and Seth again, I will take all day long. But this man is trolling us just as well as his wife trolls us all the time on social media. There is no way it's Seth Rollins. I will bet my house it is not Seth Rollins.
All right, I'm with you. I don't think that it's Seth Rollins. I do believe that he's just a red herring. I think he's doing it to troll. Again, just piggybacking off of the buzz that this major storyline is creating. But let's get to the one where it's one everybody wants. What does everybody need? Joe Gacy. Joe Gacy is a character from NXT 2.0 that many people at the very beginning of NXT 2.0 were very bleh on, because they felt like he was a bootleg Bray Wyatt. But to be fair, a lot of people were also very harsh on NXT 2.0 during its inception. So Joe Gacy has evolved out of that, hey, I'm just the next Bray Wyatt, to, hey, I've got my own thing. I am this, yes, cult leader vibe, but more. So, okay, so maybe I might be reading too much into this. So if Bray Wyatt is a cult leader that follows crazy things, crazy conspiracies, I see Joe Gacy as a suicide pact cult leader, where he convinces everyone to drink poison wine. That's how I see the Joe Gacy character, as the cult leader, different type of cult leader who isn't afraid to put his disciples at risk before himself. Bray Wyatt never did that, right? So there was a difference in terms of the type of cult leaders that they are. For all accounts, I think it's fair to say that everyone wants Joe Gacy to be Huskus the Pig.
Can I say something on this, Santi? And I'm looking way too far ahead, but I think this is a good way to look at it. Joe Gacy, like you said, has something already. He can be his individual cult leader. He could come up onto the main roster and feud with anyone.
Agreed.
But my point on this is, let's bring Joe Gacy in as Huskus the Pig. He is like the right-hand man, because you think about it, Huskus the Pig is the brainchild of Bray's Husky Harris, right?
Yep.
So that's his go-to. That's where it all started for him. Why not bring Joe Gacy in? And then in a couple years, when the faction has done its thing, Huskus the Pig is the one who turns. And Joe Gacy, knowing his value, knows that he can turn on Bray and turn the cult. He's already got that ability. He just has to sit on it. Now, this is long-term booking. I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but out of everyone we've really named, Joe Gacy's the only male with the personality and the ability and like the story mindset from what he's already created to do this and to break a faction like this. Like, Bo's always going to go with his brother. Dexter says nothing. Liv would not really have any involvement. That kind of thing. You're looking at Joe Gacy as the one that could be that crack in the shield. The crack in the armor. The proverbial crack in the shield. No pun intended. But you know what I mean. So I'm just saying, Joe Gacy is a phenomenal pick because he could be that solo Sikoa to the Bloodline. Joe Gacy could be this to the Wyatt Six, even though Bray is just Bray and he could dominate anyone. But like, Solo is that one that all you just need to do is tap that boy on the shoulder and it's game on. Sorry. Joe Gacy has that same violence to him. He's very good in the ring as well. So it's one of those ones where there's so much they could do with Joe Gacy in this. So I think we all want him as Huskus the Pig just because we've seen his ability. But long-term booking, it's a great choice.
I do think that it's a great choice. Yeah, if the plan is to eventually have the faction implode in some way, shape, or form. Now, okay, so we talked about Joe Gacy. We've pretty much talked about all the obvious ones. This is not one that I want or two really am considering, but because we talked about Eric Rowan, we should talk about Braun Strowman in some capacity, right? Again, it could be this is one of the people that Bray feuds with, or maybe somebody that is allied to Bray. I don't see the latter. I don't see how they could really work together. I could see Braun Strowman maybe being one of their first targets, a la Alexa Bliss, and it kind of makes sense. Team Little Big going after Alexa Bliss and Braun Strowman. So, yeah. What are your thoughts when I toss out a name like Braun Strowman? Is he just too big at this point, physically and literally, figuratively and literally?
Physically himself, I don't think he would be a match for this level of darkness that they're bringing. I think it would be more of a mind play for him, and it doesn't make sense. It made sense for the Wyatt family, but now he's come out of that. He snapped out of it. We saw it happen. No, sorry. That's all I've got is no. I've got no. It's not. Braun has no fit here because they've done it, and it would be disappointing, and I don't think the crowd would want it. He's already billed himself bigger than the Wyatt family, you know. So, and what we're kind of misconstruing here is we're not dealing with the Wyatt family anymore. The Wyatt family and the Wyatt Six are completely two different entities. The Wyatt Six are 6 creations out of Bray Wyatt's mind and 6 evolutions of Bray Wyatt. They're 6 different characters of himself. And that's where I was going to go with this next. What if we're looking at this all wrong? What if Bray is going to play all 6? He is Husky Harris. He is Rambling Rabbit. If you look at what he was in that Mr. Rogers segment of the Firefly Funhouse. If you look at the Buzzard is literally the same clothing that he wore as Bray Wyatt, the leader of the Wyatt family.
All the Buzzards.
And then if you look, the only one that doesn't really make sense is Abby the Witch, but it is a playoff of Sister Abigail. And I do believe during
he's been Sister Abigail before.
Yeah, he in the swamp match, right? He was Sister Abigail. Oh no, it was him and Alexa that both did it. So we're looking at all 6 versions of Bray. We've seen this before without the technology with Mick Foley. Not saying I want to see 6 versions of Bray in the Rumble, but this could be Bray across the board with this whole mixed twisted personality thing.
Yeah, and you know, before he was released, we saw him, I can't remember who he was feuding with, but in that same feud, he went from being Mr. Rogers to Bray Wyatt to The Fiend. So we've seen him transition from all of these different characters, different versions of himself. I think the reason why I want to see it be an individuals playing those characters, I mean, because I see him as a leader, somebody bringing together individuals for a common cause. And if he's just going to be jumping between different characters, then he loses that aura of the puppet master, which is what he's always sort of been and what he really excels at. So personally, that's not what I want to see. What I still enjoyed, fuck yeah, because having him jump between different characters, absolutely, I would love to see that. Now, my question to you is, like, let's go back to the original thought of it. Okay, it's other people playing the Wyatt Six. What kind of characters do they play? Right? Like, I'm just thinking, like, what is Joe Gacy as Huskus the Pig mean? Right? What does fucking Baron Corbin as Mercy the Buzzard mean? What does Dexter as Rambling Rabbit mean? Like, what does that mean? Are these just physical get-ups that they're going to be wearing? Is this going to be changes to their personalities? Is the personality from the marionette versions of them in the Firefly Funhouse going to dictate the personalities and promo styles that they cut once they are revealed to be played by humans and other people? That's where I'm lost, because I don't want to see Joe Gacy be forced to play a pig and go and be so covered in chocolate all the time, right? Joe Gacy is very special and he's very good. Could he make something like that work? Maybe. I don't know. He's very good at what he does. I'm sure if he's given Rolex, he can turn it into something amazing. But it would be really pigeonholing these individuals into being very one-dimensional.
And I'm just going to say this before I get into my answer. WWE would not have allowed this production to happen if they didn't have the confidence in how this story is going to play out. This could play. Might not figure out who the entire Wyatt 6 is until day 1. Like the end of this year. We still got 3 months, 2.5 months left. They would not have confidence to put on this big of a return, to have the Philly crowd literally blow the roof off with a pop, to say, okay, now what? They know what they're doing, and I have confidence in it. There's no way they're going to send Joe Gacy out dressed as a pig. There's no way they're going to have Dexter Lumis dressed as a rabbit. This is all going to be Bray and the Puppet Master. He will go back to a little bit of that Bray Wyatt, leader of the Wyatt family, my child. Like, I take thee under my wing type thing. Very Bayou dark, where he's from, Louisiana style, right? It's going to be like that voodoo master type thing. Hey, he might even come out like that. Like, I don't know if you've seen the photo of him unmasked from the side from Extreme Rules. The guy looks like a freaking Viking right now, let alone Bray Wyatt. Like, it's still Bray Wyatt, but it's a different look again. So to answer your question fully, this is going to be the Puppet Master at work dictating these personas. So Dexter Lumis, if he is one of these characters, he's still going to be Dexter Lumis, but he's going to be Bray's Dexter, which Bray's Dexter could be Mercy the Buzzard, Ramblin' Rabbit, which now that I'm thinking about it, Dexter Lumis, Ramblin' Rabbit, but it could, or even as the Fiend, Dexter Lumis coming in as the Fiend and playing that role where you don't have to say anything, just wrestle, But again, I digress. It's going to be the Puppet Master at work controlling all of these characters.
All right, so we've gone through the characters. We've discussed who could be in the faction, what roles they could play. We've discussed what those characters might look like once they're actually being played by those individuals. What does this faction even do?
Nothing. They don't need to do anything.
What? Yeah. So are they face? Are they heel? Are they just an omnipotent force that will just go after whoever it is that they feel they want to go after? Is this, this month's flavor is we're going after Seth Rollins, or this month is Brock Lesnar? Are these just because? And I ask this because I don't want to see them go after the title.
No. Okay. I'm gonna answer this right now with the most direct answer I've been able to figure out. Somebody said, I was on social media the other day, and somebody said, this doesn't make sense. I also listened to Jim Cornette absolutely shit all over this. And I also listened to another podcast say none of this makes sense. It doesn't work for WWE. It doesn't need it. This is just puppets and nobody cares, and this isn't pro wrestling. I'm sorry. One of the most iconic individuals of all time is The Undertaker. A dead man walking. A true just corpse is how they build him, and he is literally the most iconic character of all time.
We saw him on the back of a Hummer.
We did. How many world titles did The Undertaker win? 6, 7?
Yeah, not that many. Not something that's commonly discussed, because it's just
anything. Were they even relevant title runs? No. What's The Undertaker known for? The theater, the theatrics, the entertainment, and the streak. Before that, we had characters similar to this, like the Giant, Andre the Giant, the immovable object. He was just a spectacle, which didn't need a title. He was just there. George the Animal Steel, a madman that eats the corner of the ring and tears everyone apart. Just a guy that was a feature. Here is your New Day feature. There is no reason to say this has nothing to do with pro wrestling. It has everything to do with pro wrestling. For 30 years, The Undertaker carried this. Now, it's Bray's turn. And this man could go for another 20 years if he stays healthy and they do it right. Keep reinventing him. Keep doing it all. This is a good thing. He doesn't need to be near the title. He can do what he wants. Does he want to fuck with Seth Rollins? Go fuck with Seth Rollins. Hey, you know what? For 1 month, let's make it funny. Let's scare Michael Cole. You know? And the crowd would be over on it. Stock The Miz. Take out Kevin Owens. Go after the Bloodline if we need to have a title change. Have him that interim title for 6 months. You know? But this doesn't need anything but the mind of Wyndham and the creative team that is behind him. They have invested heavily, and don't judge it before you actually see it play out. If this doesn't work, come back and shoot on me in the comments, because I'll eat my words. But just remember, for 30 years, The Undertaker carried the business when the business needed it. And when The Undertaker wasn't needed, he fell back and let everyone else do their thing. And this is what Bray Wyatt has been brought in to do. Simple as that. I'm sorry to go off on a run, but I think that is the clearest and dead set answer you can get on that. Santi, if you think I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong.
No. We're definitely on the same page there. I think it's silly to think that something like this does not have a place in professional wrestling. Yeah, you gave like the most stout example, The Undertaker. The world of professional wrestling goes beyond the physical theater that happens in between the ropes, right? It is the theatrics of what happens also outside of the ropes that makes a character, that helps you connect with the audience, that gets that pop. And that's what Bray Wyatt absolutely excels in. No one would sit here and tell you that Bray Wyatt is the greatest in-ring wrestler of all time. No, not even fucking close. But he
Neither
is.
was Taker.
Neither was Taker. But they made you think that they were, because of the grandioseness and the stakes that felt like were on the line whenever you face them. So to say that something like this doesn't have a place in professional wrestling is frankly colossally stupid. It absolutely has a place in professional wrestling. Historically it's worked. It will continue to work. I will say this. This shit would not work in AEW or any other wrestling company. I was screaming it from the top of the mountains that The Fiend and Bray Wyatt, this only works in the WWE. The money that needs to be put behind and the thought that needs to be put behind creating the ambience and the atmosphere and even just body language and camera angles. These are just things that the WWE can absolutely help excel this act to the stratosphere. This absolutely has a place in professional wrestling. It is stupid to think otherwise, because, well, this is the thing I'm now most excited about in the world of professional wrestling. And another thing, I've grown as a professional wrestling fan here, especially over the last several months, to give things a chance before I shit on them. I shat all upon the return of Cody Rhodes, and I was made to eat my words. Cody Rhodes was fantastic, and every time he kept being fantastic, I kept trying to entrench myself into the view that this isn't working, until it did. And I had to acknowledge that I've been wrong all along about Cody Rhodes. This is not difficult. This is not a difficult one. I understand, there being hesitation about the initial return of Cody Rhodes. Why the fuck is there hesitation on this? This is an easy one. Everyone should be excited about this.
The world of professional wrestling, from the day Bray Wyatt was released, is like, why? He was hot then. Why? And now everyone's questioning, oh, they brought him back when you've been screaming from the rooftops, bring him back? Because they came in with something new, something fresh, something organic? I don't care what the so-called professionals say. the people that have been in the business, just remember, and I'll go back to Jim Cornette on this one. Jim Cornette, there's a reason the dinosaurs are not in production at WWE anymore. That's why they reinvented it after Vince left. Because they needed new blood and new ideas. And this is the newest and the most creative idea we have seen in over a decade. And if I'm wrong, somebody please go into the comments and tell me what I'm missing. Because I don't remember anything like this. This is one of the biggest returns of all time. All time. The crowd, it was one of the loudest pops I have ever heard. And I'll say it trumps Cody. And that was Mania. That was 60,000+. And there was only 15.5 in Philly. And that was, for me, this was bigger. So this 100% has a place in professional wrestling. This is going to be a success. And everyone that's shitting on it, you've lost your goddamn mind. You've lost your absolute goddamn minds if you can't find entertainment in this. What has Triple H done wrong thus far in the 3 or 4 months? You really think he's going to take this big of a chance over everything he's done? You really think he's going to take a chance on something that he...
All right, folks, Steve's mic has cut out. Sorry about that, guys. We had quick technical difficulties. We're back. Nevertheless, we're basically at the end of the episode. So, Steve, where can people find you?
Guys, you can find me on twitch.tv/Mr. Tesh. TwitchCon was a massive, mind-blowingly amazing thing for me. So I've learned a lot. Going to be on Twitch a lot more. So twitch.tv/Mr. Tesh. On TikTok, it's Straight Shoot, and TikTok, Mr. Tesh. And definitely over on my Twitter at Mr. Tesh, since Santi decided to plug his Twitter the entire live of Extreme Rules. I'm plugging it now. Santi, what about you?
You can find me over at twitch.tv/SantiZap. And of course, you can find me over on Twitter. I've got my password back and I've been actually tweeting a lot. At Mr. Zapasant. The link will be down in the description below. And of course, you can find us on TikTok as well. Thank you very much for watching. This was a difficult episode to get through. I am about to go pass out. Steve, I'm sure you're in the same boat. So have a great night. Take care and be good people.